Allah is saying to us that we can't become Muhammad. We can't become Muhammad because we are his ummah. We are his community. We can have the Quran in us. We can have that excellent pattern of excellence that's in us because we have the same pattern in us. Everything that's in Muhammad is in us. All that DNA is in us. All that obedience is in us. All that excellence is in us. That Bashar is the excellence in that creation. That's what the Bashar is. It's an elevation of insan. Adam, first level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Muhammad. And he led all of the prophets in prayer. Right? It's a special creation. It's not some average person. Because we see in Muhammad, peace be upon him, nothing average about him. There was nothing average about him. We see nothing average about the Quran. The Quran being taught by Allah makes the insan special. It makes the person special. It makes the community special. It makes the world special. This is how we need to understand the prophet better. We must become him in his excellence, which is in turn means our excellence. We truly are going to establish him as a leader for modern times. You know, not a dictator, not a ruler, because he never tried to be that. You know, that was not his example. We have so much in what we have in common with him, our original nature, our obedience again, the Quran. Listen, if we look at his circumstances, we have the same things he were up against. You don't see the Quraysh? You don't see the Quraysh now? You don't see pharaohs? You don't see what has went on in the Quran? You don't see that going on in the world now? Listen, each of the prophets is a progression to Muhammad. And all of them have characteristics that lead us to understanding him, but better yet, becoming him. Becoming better for us. All of those characteristics of the prophets are inside of us. That's what they stand for. They don't stand for people. They stand for us. And we have to have it established in our lives and what we're doing. Imam Muhammad dedicated himself to this, to making us understand how we're supposed to be better. So I feel comfortable in saying that we cannot have one thing without the other. You cannot have the Quran without Muhammad. You cannot have Muhammad without the Quran. And if you try, you end up where we are now as a global community. In this environment, in this world, we have the largest growing faith in the world. This is what they've been telling us for how many years? But we don't have the largest influence. So this brings me to the next connection that I want to make. When we look at the current state of affairs, and I listened to quite a bit of the lectures, and one that's been been constantly going on because Imam was teaching Al-Islam. He taught Al-Islam, and when I came into community in the early 90s, you know, the Imam was moving forward in other areas of Al-Islam. So he was relying on his Imams to teach Al-Islam. He was moving forward in other areas of the community that had to be taught, that had to be moved forward. You know when he started establishing CPC, all these other things that he was doing, because he knew that Ummah doesn't just mean you making 5 prayers a day. So he was moving forward. So he knew that, hey, I've trained people to be able to teach the rituals, so I'm not going to keep teaching the rituals. So I listened back to when he was teaching the rituals and some of those, and some of the breaking down some of them things, because I'm a student. So one of the ones that I've been listening to over and over and over again, I mean, I saturate myself day and night, is one he did from 1986 called The Gog and Magog. The Gog and Magog. And this was a big year for me because this is the year I graduated high school. So you can do the math. 50 years old. But it was also the year I moved back to Chicago. Same year I moved back to Chicago. So, you know, things, like I said, things to me, disconnections. So Allah says in the Quran to Muhammad, he said, they'll ask you about Dhul Qarnayn. Say, I will recite to you some of his history. Indeed, we have established his power in the land, and we will give him all kinds of ways and means. And then I'm going to move ahead. He said, Then he set out on another expedition and marched on till he reached between two mountains, where he found a people who could hardly understand his language. They requested, "O Dul-Qarnain, the people of Yajuj and Majuj, the Gog and Magog, ravaged this land." And we say, surely Allah speaks the truth. So this Yajuj and Majuj, and there's some commentary from Imam Muhammad, he said the Gog and Magog are not original Arabic terms. So we have to be aware of the meaning of the Gog and Magog, the Juj and Majuj, and the environment where these terms originated. He said the Juj, the Gog, he said it means having a head. And he said the Majuj, which is the Gog, which is the Magog, he said means having no head. It means leaders having leadership, and other one, Majuj, means having no leadership. Okay, now that's the end of that quote. He said, now these times that we're in, this is me speaking, these are the times of the Gog and Magog. These are the times of the Gog and Magog. We have a situation where we have both of those extremes going on, and they are ravaging the land of the world. The Majuj, the Majuj was having no leadership, right? No head, right?
That's right.
Okay. Having no leadership. Can we see that at the top of this country right now?
Yeah. Definitely can.
As a student of Imam Muhammad, he's always said, if you make a point, you need to have something to back up your point. That's all I want to do is back up my point. Just for an example. What is the leadership we have in this country? It's headless. We have no intelligence at all. That's what headless means. We have no intelligence, no direction, no conscience. The Imam says, so here is the ungodly people of the world are put into two descriptions. One is that they have leadership, and the other is that they have no leadership, and they are at war with each other, and we get caught in the crossfire, and we suffer their problems. We're suffering their problems. We're just trying to establish an ummah and live happily ever after. Right? American dream, right? New Africa. Just give us our 40 acres of the mule, leave us alone. You know, that's all we try to do. We can't do that because we suffering what they got. They got a lot of stuff going on. All we got to do is sit back and watch them eat each other alive. But it's affecting us. And let me say this, that I understand that in politics and everything, good representation means something. Coalition for Good Government. We have something, we have a system inside of us. You know, we know Brother Roderick here. We know Fleming Elamine is a part of my congregation. You know, in Winston-Salem. He's part of our congregation, Fleming Elamine, yeah. So we know that Al-Islam can work when it comes to that. But it's the system of the world here that we're talking about. And we have both extremes going back and forth, just like the Imam said. They're at war with each other. And those who want to live our lives in that peaceful existence, we can't find that peace. We can't find that peace. Even on issues that we may agree with them, they get so far out there about it. That's what I can't understand about one of these groups. I'm like, man, they realize they hate us, but they don't realize that we line up so much in some of the things they agree with, but they so extreme with them, but they don't realize that we agree with a bunch of stuff they agree with. We voted with them if they would stop being so extreme in their issues. So this condition that is set up because of the climate. And in the report of the Hadith of Mohammed, where the creation was shown to the angel Jibril, alayhi salam. You know the Hadith where Allah shows him the creation, and Jibril says, wow, how can anybody go wrong in this creation? And then he shows them the creation that the Shaitan influences it, right? Well, I say, me personally, I say that, and you know, in social media they had this thing called filters, right? And so a filter is like you take a picture, and if you use a filter, they can have a filter, and you instead of seeing the person seeing your picture, they put a filter, now they see something else. So in one filter, they have a dog. So you look like a dog. And you know what the Imam taught us about dogs, right? They want this is a dog country. And I love dogs. I heard you talking about the dog earlier. I love dogs, but this we know what this means, you know, opposite of God. So then they have another one. They got a new one now. They got it so where you can be a man. You can be a man with the full beard, goatee, whatever, and you put a filter on there, you look like a female. Cute female. You can be the ugliest brother, but you look like the cutest female with this filter. Okay, so when we think of this hadith that when the world was shown to Jibril and he saw it with the way Allah wants it, then he saw it with the influence of shaitan. I always say that's a filter. It's a filter. It's the filter that shaitan has put on the world that he uses a filter, because behind it is the real creation, but people can't see that because they see the filter. They see the filter that shaitan has put over the climate. That's what's going on in this world. And the Imam said Satan can't get to us directly, so he goes at us through them. He's talking about the people. He's talking about the people that inside of this world, the Gog and Magog, that encourages the condition of the Gog and Magog. This is what he's talking about. He encourages the headless to love the headlessness. These are these filters. They want to live in this type of thing. How many people look at what's going on today and just say, what is really happening in this world? It is the shaitan working among those who live in that filter, that want to exist inside that world. They don't want to live in the world that Allah wants. They want to live in that filter. They don't have to answer no questions in that world. Who they got to answer to? Ain't no responsibilities in that world. They just go ahead and do whatever they want to do. That's the way shaitan wants them. Allah tells us in the Quran that this world is an illusion, right? Tell me if I'm wrong now. Okay, I just check it. Just check it. So again, this world is an illusion. And the Imam says that he encourages those who want leadership to go to one extreme, become fanatic in their advocated leadership, to the point that they want to establish a dictatorship. Sound familiar? The other side is weak liberalism. And to what do you have in the end? You have a militaristic power and a anarchistic power, right? Anarchistic power. These things have spilled over into the private lives of the people on the earth. So where do I begin with that? Mega. That's all I'm going to say. If you don't know what mega is by now, mega. Looking to turn back everything that they can to set up and establish a dictatorship, right? The brother made a very good point about the executive order, right? They can put us back in slavery, Now, if they really thought they could, they would. You know that, but they know they can. Hey, if you know they can do it, they already know they can do it. People he got around him already, they didn't look through everything they can to turn this world upside down. But they just know that they ain't ready to try it yet. They ain't ready to try it yet. They have unleashed chaos in these streets. They got some people thinking they can do whatever they want to do. That's what being a fanatic means. Right? Being a fanatic, this is the language the Imam used, fanatic. It means a person filled with excessive or single-minded zeal, especially for an extreme religious or political cause. This is the language of Imam Muhammad. Political cause and extreme religion. That's what he says. That's what the meaning is. The Gog and Magog. The other side is weak liberalism. So my question is, why do the Democrats always want to play fair? Why do they always want to take the high road? Now I love, and I'm gonna say this, and don't get me wrong, I love, Michelle Obama. They go high, when they go low, we go high. Why? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna translate that. Turn the other cheek. Right? But Allah says, now has come the time for you to fight. Then Allah says that in the Quran. Okay? Now look, it took some years, and I got to answer a question at something later on. People ask us about why Muslims seem like they fight. No, Allah held us back quite a. Hey, listen, Hamza, he might have lost all his fingers. He wanted to fight so bad, and he couldn't fight. So, but you sitting there saying, they go high, when they go low, we go high. Work with the other side. That's a sign of weakness to people. That's a sign of weakness. It ain't necessarily that you got to go to the same extreme, but you ain't even willing to stand up. You're not even willing to stand up against what they're doing. The other side, they go 100% in for their team. When they vote, they go 100%. When somebody don't vote for them, they put them on the outside. They be like, what is wrong? They dog them out. You ain't with us on this? Okay, okay, you might as well leave. We're going to have somebody run against you in the primary. You out. You got to be 100% in. I don't care if you got standards and morals and all that stuff. That don't work. We're a team. Militaristic power. They got monies for guns and war, but they ain't got none to feed the poor. Right? Right?
Right.
Never ever problem to invade. When it's time to invade, time to destroy, time to shut down something, they can always do that. You know, they're always looking to bring nothing but chaos and anarchy. They have nothing to do that. Listen, this is what the culture pushes, to be a rebel, to go against the grain. Do not conform. What does that sound like to you? Huh? Except Iblis, he refused to be one who prostrated. What was the popular show, Sons of Anarchy? I didn't watch it, but I knew the name, right? Sons of Anarchy. This is no coincidence. Imam said they put it right there in the movies, TV. They put it right there in your face, what they're trying to do. They do that. They do that. It's no coincidence. Listen, Shaitan wants an abnormal society. He wants it as abnormal as possible. That's his goal, to attack you. He don't want you living in, with flowers in your front yard and trees blooming and stuff like that. No, he wants it abnormal. His goal is because, and the Quran says, the Quran, because you have put me in error, surely I will sit and wait for them on your straight path. Then I will come for them from before them, from behind them, from the right and the left. He cannot harm you from there, and he knows it. He can't get on the straight path with you, but don't get too close to the edge, because he's going to pull you. So how does Shaitan hurt us most? The Imam said he does not hurt the righteous. He doesn't hurt the righteous. He cannot hurt the righteous directly. He said he will go for them from behind them, from the left and from the right. This is Imam. He said this means that he used deceptive strategies. And when I heard him say this, he said deceptive strategies and tactics. He says it will not always come openly with his wrongdoing. First thing I thought of is when Allah says in the Quran, because the Imam only spoke as Quran. First thing I thought of, and he said he will see you in areas you can't see him, right? He will not always meet you face to face. He will attack you from the rear, and when he attacks a weak member of your family, by selling that member narcotics, he's attacking you from the rear. Now, how many of us have been affected by something like this? Someone close to us having issues, whatever it be. Someone did to us, someone that we have to look out for, that's caught up. We trying to help them out. We end up losing a bit of ourselves. We all go through this, or we end up in neighborhoods that been ravaged. So the first thing we try to do is we got to get up out of there, right? Because we can't live there. We can't raise our children in these neighborhoods. We don't know they safe. We worried about them getting home every day. So we got to get out of here. That right? That's the goal, right? Now we got, now what we got? Gentrification. I was just in Evanston. I grew up in Evanston. It don't look nothing like the Evanston I grew up in. I was just like amazed. Now, I don't have no problem with living amongst other people, but it's like, wow. Can breathe, all the projects, all of us name, all the places down there in the United Center. They moved all them projects out. The one daily built them up, the other daily broke them down. They had ran out to the suburbs, now they ran back to the city. But what did they do first? They made it hell first, right? They ran everybody up out of there, and those that couldn't get out of there, they just pretty much locked or killed. Gog and Magog. They just eliminated those who were caught up. This is why Shaitan and his children, his hosts, his workers, his dupes, those who have lost their ability to be insane, to become jinn. This anarchy, the meaning for this word, all these words that mean that, basically it's a doctrine that advocates the elimination of government. The Quran is for self-government. It's for personal government.